My fiancé said, "I invited my ex to the wedding. If you loved me, you'd understand." I replied, "I do understand." Then I quietly contacted his wife and invited her as +1. The rehearsal dinner became legendary when I, 32 male, should have seen the warning signs months ago, but love makes you stupid, right? Been engaged to Jessica, 29, for 8 months. Together for 3 years. Wedding was set for next month, 150 guests, fancy venue, the whole 9 yards. Last Thursday she drops this bomb over dinner. So I invited Trevor to the wedding. I nearly choked on my pasta. Trevor is her ex from college, the guy she dated for 4 years, the one she almost married before they grew apart. "You invited your ex to our wedding?" She smiled like this was totally normal. "Yeah, we're still friends. It would be weird not to invite him." "Jess, that's unusual." Her face hardened. "If you loved me, you'd understand. It shows maturity that we can all be adults about this." "Adults? You want your ex watching you marry me? God, you're being so insecure." Trevor's happily married now. His wife couldn't make it because she's visiting family overseas, but he'll be there. It's not a big deal. Something felt off. The way she said, his wife couldn't make it, too rehearsed, too quick. "What's his wife's name?" I asked casually. Jessica blinked. Rebecca. Why does it matter?" "Just curious." "You've met her?" "Of course." Too defensive. "Several times." I smiled. "You're right, I'm being silly. If Trevor's important to you, then I understand." She looked surprised but pleased, kissed me on the cheek. "See? This is why I love you." That night, I did some digging, found Trevor on social media pretty quick. His wife's name? Monica, not Rebecca, and according to her profile she wasn't overseas. She was a dental hygienist working 20 minutes from our venue. Interesting. Spent the weekend doing more research. Found out Trevor and Jessica had been texting regularly. How do I know? She left her iPad at my place. Still logged into messages. I know, privacy violation. But when your fiancé invites her ex to your wedding and lies about his wife, you investigate. The messages were friendly, too friendly. Lots of "remember when," and "those were the days," and him saying things like "shame it didn't work out between us," and her responding with "timing is everything." Monday morning, I made a decision. Found Monica on social media and sent her a message from my real account. "Hi Monica. You don't know me, but I'm marrying Jessica next month. She's invited your husband Trevor to our wedding. She told me you couldn't attend because you're overseas, but I see you're local. I wanted to extend a personal invitation. Would love to have you there as my guest. The reception is at Riverside Manor on the 15th. Got a response within an hour. Overseas? That's interesting since I'm sitting in my office right now. Trevor told me he had a work conference that weekend. Thank you for reaching out. I'll definitely be attending." Oh, this was gonna be good. Update 1. The week after I contacted Monica was tense. Jessica kept talking about the wedding, final preparations, seating arrangements. She casually mentioned putting Trevor at table 3 with my college friends. "Why table 3? I asked. "Well, he won't know anyone else. It would be awkward to sit him with strangers." "How about with your cousins at table 7? She frowned. "No, that's too far from, table 3 is better. Too far from the head table." She almost said it. Meanwhile, Monica and I exchanged a few more messages. Turns out, Trevor had been acting weird for months. Working late, protective of his phone, suddenly interested in fitness. Classic signs. Monica had suspected something but didn't have proof. I told her about the messages I'd seen. Not the details, that felt wrong, but enough. She was furious. Not at me, at them. "That manipulative witch," she wrote, "and my pathetic husband, they deserve each other." We hatched a plan. Monica would come as my +1 to the rehearsal dinner. Maximum impact, minimal scene at the actual wedding, if there even was one after this. 3 days before the rehearsal dinner, Jessica was going over the guest list for the dinner. "So it's just family and the wedding party, right?" I confirmed. "Yeah, and Trevor. I invited him to the rehearsal dinner too." I almost laughed. "Why?" "He's traveling from out of state." Lie, he lived an hour away, so I thought it would be nice. "That's thoughtful of you." She smiled, missing my sarcasm completely. The day of the rehearsal dinner, I told Jessica I had to pick up a friend who was having car trouble. "Now? The dinner's in 2 hours." "I'll be quick. They're stranded and really need help. You head over, I'll meet you there." She was annoyed but agreed. I picked up Monica. She looked fantastic. Elegant black dress, perfect makeup. She was on a mission. You ready for this? I asked. 3 years of marriage and he's sneaking around with his ex? Oh, I'm ready. We arrived at the restaurant 40 minutes after everyone else. I walked in first, Monica a few steps behind. The private dining room had about 30 people, our family's wedding party, and sitting next to Jessica at the main table. Trevor. Jessica stood up, smiling. There you are. We were getting worried. She froze when Monica walked in. The room went silent. Trevor's face went white. Like, actually white. Dude looked like he'd seen a ghost. Hi, honey, Monica said sweetly to Trevor. Surprise, my trip got canceled. Jessica's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Monica, I thought you were overseas? Yeah, that's what Trevor told me about his work conference this weekend, too. Imagine my surprise when Drew reached out to personally invite me. I stepped forward. Everyone, this is Monica, Trevor's wife. She'll be joining us tonight as my guest since Jessica was so insistent on including Trevor in our wedding celebrations. My mom, bless her, immediately understood something was up. Monica, how lovely to meet you. Come sit by me. Update 2. The rehearsal dinner was absolutely nuclear. Monica sat between my mom and my sister, directly across from Trevor and Jessica. The tension was incredible. Jessica kept trying to act normal, but her voice was shaky. So Monica, Jessica attempted, how long have you and Trevor been married? 3 years, Monica replied, sipping her wine. Though apparently I should ask you how long you've been texting my husband. Silverware clinked. Someone coughed. Trevor looked like he wanted to disappear. We're just friends, Jessica said weakly. Monica pulled out her phone. Friends don't text at midnight. Friends don't send shirtless gym selfies. Should I read some of these out loud? Trevor finally spoke. Monica, please, not here. Not here? Monica laughed. Where then? At your fake work conference? Or maybe during one of your client dinners that Jessica somehow always knew about? My groomsman Kyle whispered, holy hell, loud enough for everyone to hear. Jessica turned to me, tears forming. Drew, this is a misunderstanding. Is it though? I asked calmly. Is that why you lied about Monica being overseas? Why you put Trevor at table 3, close to our table? Why you invited him to the rehearsal dinner? You set me up. No, Jess, you set yourself up. I just invited his wife to the party you planned. Jessica's dad stood up. What the hell is going on here? Monica answered. Your daughter's been having an emotional affair with my husband. Maybe physical, I don't know yet. But she invited him to her wedding while explicitly making sure I wouldn't be here. That's not true, Jessica screamed. Really? I pulled out my phone. Should I show everyone the messages, the ones where Trevor says can't wait to see you in your dress, and you respond, it's bad luck for the groom to see it, but not for you. Jessica's mom gasped. Her dad's face turned purple. Trevor stood. We're leaving. We? Monica laughed. No, honey, you can leave. I'm enjoying my dinner. She turned to my mom. This salmon is excellent. My mom, absolute legend, raised her glass. To honesty in relationships. Half the room drank. The other half sat in stunned silence. Update 3. After Trevor slunk out, Jessica went full meltdown mode. Not sad crying, angry entitled rage. How dare you humiliate me like this? How dare I? You invited your ex to our wedding. It wasn't like that. We're just friends who happen to have history. Monica laughed bitterly. History that was actively repeating itself. Jessica's dad finally spoke. Jessica, is this true? Have you been inappropriate with this man? Dad, Drew is blowing this out of proportion. He violated my privacy, went through my messages. Because you lied about his wife, I interrupted. You said her name was Rebecca. Her brother Jake shook his head. Jess, what the hell? Jessica's mask finally slipped completely. You know what? Fine, yes, Trevor and I have been talking. Yes, I wanted him at the wedding. He was the one who got away, okay? I needed to see if I was making the right choice. The room erupted. Her mom started crying. Her dad stood up so fast his chair fell over. At your wedding? He roared. You were going to decide at your wedding? I laughed. Actually laughed. Well, that makes this easier. I pulled out an envelope from my jacket. Consider this my wedding gift. It was the invoice for all the deposits I'd paid. Venue, catering, flowers, band, $18,000 total. What's this? Jessica asked. Your dad can explain. Since he insisted on doing things traditionally, where the bride's family plans the wedding, but I pay for it? Well, wedding's off. These are all non-refundable deposits in my name. If you want to use them for your next wedding, maybe to Trevor after his divorce, your family can reimburse me. Her dad's face went from purple to white. You paid all the deposits? Every penny. Jessica wanted the expensive packages. I have the receipts. Monica stood up. Speaking of receipts, Trevor, expect to hear from my divorce attorney Monday. I'll be taking half of everything, including your precious boat. She turned to Jessica. You can have him when I'm done. Good luck with a cheater who lives with his mother after I take the house. Jessica started ugly crying. Not pretty tears, full snotty sobbing. Drew, please, we can work this out. I choose you. You choose me? How generous. After you got caught, you choose me? Her sister Emma, who'd been quiet, finally spoke. Jess, you're a complete idiot. You had a good man and you threw it away for what? Some guy who cheats on his wife? Emma, their mom scolded. No, Mom, I'm tired of everyone babying her. She's almost 30 and acting like a teenager. The dinner ended with Jessica's family arguing, Monica exchanging numbers with my sister, they hit it off, and me walking out feeling lighter than I had in months. Got a text from Jessica an hour later. You ruined my life. I responded, no, you ruined your own life. I just refuse to be collateral damage. Update 4. The next 3 days were insanity. First, Jessica tried love bombing. Showed up at my apartment with flowers. Ironic, wearing the lingerie I'd bought her for Valentine's Day. Manipulative, crying about how sorry she was. Too late. Please, Drew, I'll cut Trevor off completely. I'll block him right now. Jess, you were using our wedding as a test run for your feelings. That's beyond repair. It wasn't like that. I was just confused. Confused? You lied about his wife's name. That's not confusion. That's deception. She tried to push past me into the apartment. We need to talk about this properly. No, we don't. Please leave before I call security. You can't just throw away 3 years. I didn't. You did, the moment you invited him. When that didn't work, she went nuclear on social media, posted this sob story about how I was controlling, jealous, and ruined her wedding over innocent friendship. Tagged all our mutual friends. Big mistake. Monica, who'd become my unexpected ally, commented, innocent friendship? Is that why you told him I was overseas while planning to seat him near your wedding table? Then she posted screenshots. Not all of them. Just enough. Trevor saying, remember that weekend in wine country? Jessica responding, best 48 hours ever. Dated 2 months ago, when she was supposedly at a work retreat. Jessica's carefully crafted victim narrative crumbled in real time. Her mom called me. Drew, the family is humiliated. Couldn't you have handled this privately? Linda, I tried. Jessica made it public when she invited Trevor to the wedding. But to ambush her like that, like she ambushed me with her ex at our wedding, at least I gave her the courtesy of doing it at the rehearsal, not the actual ceremony. Silence. Then, the deposits are non-refundable and in my name. $18,000. That's extortion. No, that's consequences. If Jessica wants to explain to the 150 guests why the wedding is off, that's her choice. Next came the flying monkeys. Her friends started texting and calling. The narrative varied. She made a mistake but loves you. Monica is probably lying about some of it. All couples have issues. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Think of the guests. To each, I sent the same response. She invited her ex she's been emotionally cheating with to our wedding and lied about his wife. Would you marry someone who did that? Most stopped responding after that. Update 5. 2 weeks before the would-be wedding date, Jessica's dad called. Drew, I need those vendor contacts. Why? Heavy sigh. Jessica wants to cancel everything formally. We'll reimburse you for the deposits. All $18,000? Yes. Send me the itemized list. I did. Within 48 hours, I had a check. Guess they really wanted to minimize the embarrassment. Meanwhile, Monica's divorce was proceeding at light speed. Turns out Trevor had been sloppy. She found credit card charges for hotels when he was supposedly working late, dinner receipts for 2 when he claimed to be alone, and best of all, a second phone hidden in his car. The second phone had everything. Pictures, texts, even a draft email where he was planning to object at our wedding. Yeah, you read that right. He was going to object when the officiant asked if anyone had reasons we shouldn't marry. Monica sent me screenshots. Thought you should see what you avoided. Trevor's message to Jessica, If you give me the signal during the ceremony, I'll stand up. We can run away together. Jessica's response, that's so romantic, but let me see how I feel in the moment. She was literally going to decide at the altar whether to marry me or run off with Trevor. I sent this to Jessica with one message, you're a sociopath. Her response was a novel-length text about how I didn't understand true love, how Trevor was her soulmate, how I was too boring and safe, how she settled for me because I was stable. I forwarded it to her dad. Got a 2-word response, Jesus Christ. Update 6, final there. The day that would have been our wedding, I went golfing with my groomsmen, had a blast. That evening, we went to a steakhouse, the expensive one Jessica always said was too much for no reason. Halfway through dinner, Kyle showed me his phone. Dude, you need to see this. Jessica had worn her wedding dress and gone to the venue, alone, posted photos on Instagram with captions like, the wedding that should have been and true love means forgiveness. The comments were brutal. Girl, this is unhinged. Didn't you cheat on him? This is embarrassing. Take this down. Therapy, now. Her own sister commented, Jess, stop, you're humiliating yourself. But the real kicker came from Monica. Same dress you were going to wear while deciding between your fiancé and my husband? Classy. By the next morning, Jessica had deleted everything and made her accounts private. 3 months later, here's where everyone ended up. Jessica, living with her parents, working the same job, posting cryptic quotes about surviving narcissistic abuse that get 0 engagement. Trevor ghosted her completely after Monica took him to the cleaners in the divorce. Trevor lost the house, half his 401k paying alimony, living in a studio apartment. Monica sent me a photo of her with the boat keys captioned, thanks for the wake-up call. Monica, thriving. Got promoted, bought Trevor's share of the house, started dating a doctor from her gym. We still text occasionally, weird friendship, but it works. Me, took a 2-week trip to Europe with the money from the deposits. Met someone at a cooking class in Italy, wasn't looking for anything, but Anna's amazing. She laughed until she cried when I told her this story on our 3rd date. Jessica's dad still sends me Christmas cards. He wrote in the last one, thank you for showing us who she really was before more damage was done. Her mom unfriended me on social media but occasionally likes my photos from her craft business account. Forgot I could see that, Linda. Last week, got one final text from Jessica. I heard you're dating someone. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond, but yeah, I am happy. Happy I trusted my gut, happy I called Monica, happy I didn't marry someone who'd use our wedding as a relationship test drive. Moral of the story, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they invite their ex to your wedding, invite their spouse. The truth has a funny way of coming out at dinner parties. To everyone asking if I regret the public confrontation, nope. Jessica created that situation. I just made sure all the players were present. The rehearsal dinner venue still has a photo of that night on their security office wall labeled The Dinner from Hell. The manager told me they use it for training on how to handle dramatic situations. At least we're memorable. Edit. Since everyone's asking, yes, Monica and I are still friends. No, nothing romantic ever happened or will happen. She's like the older sister I never had, who happens to have incredible taste in revenge. Anna thinks the whole story is hilarious and has actually become friends with Monica too. We all had brunch last month. Trevor drove by the restaurant and Monica waved at him with her engagement ring from her new fiancé. His face was priceless. Edit 2. To the people saying I should have just called off the wedding privately. She literally planned to have her ex at our wedding, to decide if she wanted to marry me. That level of disrespect deserved a public response. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.